Hey everyone, it's Stephanie from The Well-Doing Mama, and today I am going to take you on a little walk through My Story 2 from Masterbooks. This is a really great curriculum that we have used. I have used My Story 1, and we used My Story 2 last year in our co-op. I used My Story 1 with just me and my kids, and then we used My Story 2 in our co-op last year. And I'll give you a little idea of how we use that and what I like about it. I love that it's just an all-in-one book. But it is from Masterbooks, so it comes from a great worldview, which I always appreciate about Masterbooks. And we used this for our first and second graders last year. So you can, it's kind of meant for second graders, but you can totally use it with a little range of ages. So I just want to flip you around. I want to walk you through it. I know it can be so hard to see when you can't see curriculum. You can see online a little bit, but just to kind of see a walkthrough of what it looks like. I'll try to give you some ideas of how we used it both in our co-op and how I used it with my kids on my own as I walk you through it. Okay, so My Story 2 by Masterbooks, my country, my world. And so let me show you how you can use this. So it starts with, it has 4 quests or 4 quarters that you could use throughout the year. And so it gives you each of the lessons. And so you'll see there's 36 lessons. So that means that each of these lessons would be about a week's worth of time for you to do in school. Now, if I was doing this on my own, I lost my train of thought. If I was doing this on my own, I would probably do it about twice a week and do half of it each time. Because I find that my kids can really sit for science and history or social studies for a good hour. When we used it in co-op, they had about an hour and a half to do the work, and sometimes they maybe would come home with some coloring to do or something like that they might do also. The reading is very minimal in this book. So it gives you some different ideas of the things that they have: a talk time, copy work, activity, language time, word find, thankful time, flag time, government time, God's creation time, word collector, my story journal, review time, question review time, language time review, quest collector card. So it feels very complicated when you look at that, but it's really not that complicated of a book. It's very much an open and go type of curriculum. Masterbooks is really great about giving you the suggested daily schedule. I never really follow it, but it is actually really great as they get older and they're doing stuff on their own. Or if you were doing this, maybe like sometimes you taught it and sometimes dad taught it. It's a good little checklist to like see what you've gotten through. I probably would not pull this out every single day because I find that it takes us more time to pull something out every day and get everybody gathered and do it. This is definitely a curriculum you could do with a group of kids. I would say even a third or maybe even a 4th grader. You could always add in a little extra if you had a 4th grader. But I'd say definitely kindergarten, even a preschool. I think our preschooler did this when I did it with my kids. All the way through, definitely 3rd grade could do this and learn well from it. And so for me, I would do it twice a week, once to twice a week, probably twice. And I do like 1, 2, 3 one day and 4, 5 the other day. We did it in our co-op. Let me turn to a lesson. Let me show you a lesson. Gives a little introduction. Trying to watch. I saw my daughter wrote her name in a couple spots. So what a lesson would look like. So here's lesson 1. You can see it has these words in yellow. And so some of these are words you might want to review or make little flashcards of. You kind of have to, I don't know why jacket would be on there, but canoe might be something you could talk about. Tower of Babel you could talk about. So, and it goes through, it has a little bit of reading, has some more reading, then it gives some words. These are some Hawaiian words, so these would be fun to make a little poster board or where you could practice the words. A talk time is just a time to kind of have a conversation with your kids. And thankful time, this is one thing that they do throughout the book is make thankful leaves, I think is what they're doing, of things they're thankful for. This is such a great way to encourage kids to be more thankful. So it's a great thing to do with the kids. And so you can even see up here that it says lesson 1, exercise 1, day 1. So you can kind of even help you keep track of how far you maybe should go. There are some amazing pictures in this book. So this has some more pictures of Hawaii, has some things in here, talks about all the different days of creation. And then it has another talk time, another thankful time. It has a word search. Then it has this little activity time. There are thousands of languages that people speak in the world. 6 different ways to say hello. And so it gives some different ways to say hello. That's something fun. Flag time, government time, talks a little bit about the government. Things, and see, so it says day 3 up there. Again, some nice pictures, some more language. Talks about the types of government. So if you have an older child, maybe you're doing this with a 3rd, or even if you're planning maybe your 4th grader, this is a great thing that they can start talking about. And you could start even keeping little index cards where you write the words and then the information and quiz the kids on those throughout the book. That way they don't just forget them after they've learned them once. This is talking about what your state capital is. When did you become a state? Then this is just some words for them to practice writing, which is good copywork practice. And then why is it important to make fair rules? These are great little things to talk about. Word collector, can you go back and find all those yellow words? Last page. I'm not going to show you because it includes the city and has them talk about their city that they live in. Okay, and then we're going to flip into the book a little bit further. And so oftentimes, that one must have had a coloring page that got torn out. Oftentimes there will be a coloring page in there for them. Again, you can see government time, just some more different things about the government, different governments. Give some Bible verses that you can look up. But there's often some coloring pages in here. A lot of them were flags. So when you're using this on your own, I just simply opened it and we read through it together. We did some of the activities. And then maybe if there was something that was an obvious activity we could do, we would pull it out and do it. We didn't necessarily do a ton of activities. When they did this in our co-op last year, we really tried to add in more of the hands-on. That's one of the things I love about doing our co-op, is to put in some hands-on activities. So, for instance, let me give you, here is a fishing boat. So one activity that you might do with this, I made up some of our activities, and then we had teachers that made up activities, so it was a variety of different ideas. But you could have the kids build boats out of, like, let's say aluminum foil, and see whose boat can hold the most weight. And so those kinds of things added a little bit of fun with it, but aren't like super expensive, aren't stressful. There's something as a mom you could pull out with almost no effort or work. And so I'm trying to think what else we did. See, they do have some really nice pictures. It talks about the oceans. Oh, one other thing that we did with the kids is we had a map of, at one point, Africa, because what point in here they're learning about Africa? Let me see. They learned a bunch of countries. Oh, yeah, in Quest 3, they learned about Africa. And so I printed off a map of Africa and laminated them, and then they could go through, and I'm not sure how much they used it, but we actually quizzed our high schoolers using them. But you could go through with that map of Africa, and you could be like, okay, let's color in Egypt. And so every day when you pull it out, you might color in Egypt. And then the next week, you learn about, let's see. You're going to learn about Sudan and Ethiopia. And so now you color in Egypt, and then you color Sudan and Ethiopia. And you could do that for all the different continents that you've learned about. You could print off different maps and have the kids practice remembering where those spots are, because those are really great ways for them to practice. And like Egypt, they built pyramids out of Legos. There's so many things in here you could build out of Legos. We did Lego building several times where the kids would build pyramids out of Legos, or we have dominoes that they would build things out of. Let's go towards the back a little. Here's some El Salvador. And then there's sometimes food. And so we made, for one of these we made, it was kind of like a guacamole, but it was called something else. But it was a lot like a guacamole. And so I brought in the stuff and the kids just chopped it up. It was super easy, and it was a recipe the kids could do themselves. But here's some cocoa tree, and you could actually have the kids try different types of chocolate. My middle schooler did that when she was in a middle school class. They tried different types of chocolate, like different percentages. And that was super fun. So that is totally something you could do with your kids. And again, it's very easy and simple. None of it has to be complicated. And that's what I like about this book, is that it has a lot of very simple and easy things. I don't think we got to some of these at the very end here. but you could do one of these a week. You could double up and do 2 a week if you wanted to. They're not like super intense lessons. You can see the reading is pretty small, pretty short. You could always look something up online. You can find some videos of that area, but don't feel like you have to do a lot of the prep work ahead of time if you want to add stuff. Just do it while your kids are sitting there. Have some fun with them. Teach them how to learn with you. And that's really a great time, is to learn together. And like I said, I think learning where these places are on the map and pulling out the map and really looking at that is a great option for kids too. And then, so just lots of great, and it's very, what's the word I want to use? It's very methodical. It goes over and over it. So it goes back and forth. So here's, and you're going back to the United States, but it's the same type of activities over and over. And these talk times are really great times to get your kids to start talking about things. What did you learn? And you could even, there's not a lot of work in here, but you could totally get a little spiral notebook for your kids and have them, if they're a little bit older, write their own answers to the talk time, or maybe draw their own picture from what you learned when you read, or you could copy things down for them that they learned or read throughout the book. So we found this to be really, and then at the end there's review questions from each one, which is a great time to go back and review. I highly recommend you review as you go through the book to have fun with that and to encourage the kids to keep learning. And then there are answers to all the word searches. But so I found this it's a really great resource. It is an easy open and go, no stress curriculum. You can add in, if you have Legos, you can add in building almost anything out of Legos that you want, or you can build a little boat here, or you could try food that they mention. There's no requirements to do any of that, but it's easy to add in if you have time and energy. And if you don't, and all you do is read the book and answer the questions and talk a little as a family, it is a great family time to sit around the table together. So I just really encourage you that you look at this. If you're looking for something easy for your kindergarten, first, second grader, or you're looking for something to do with your young kids together, this is a really easy and gentle way to bring in some social studies that you can sit at the table together as a family and enjoy. So I hope that helps as a flip through. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer any questions or give some more information if you need it. Thanks for joining us today. Please leave a comment if you have something else you'd like me to talk about, or you have any questions. Please hit the like button and subscribe to see more videos about what we do.